Hello? Yeah. Yeah, that $5,000 is your earnest money. What do you mean you don't know what that means? Are you kidding me? Well, we need to talk about that, and we're going to do it right now. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Brian Taylor, and I'm the owner of Dreamline Realty in Charlotte, North Carolina. And on this channel, we provide educational content to help our home buyers understand the process and make great home buying decisions. Before I dive into the topic, stick around to the end because I'm going to go through a visual with you that's really going to help you understand this topic in more detail, and I'm going to give you access to that document as well. So let's get started. So you're making an offer on a house and your agent tells you that you need to pony up some cash for earnest money, but what in the heck does that mean anyway, right? Well, earnest money is money that the buyer is willing to put towards the offer, and it gives the seller some reassurance and lets them know how serious you are about purchasing their house. So unlike the due diligence fee, where that fee is paid directly to the seller, the earnest money is additional funds that the buyer is willing to put up, and that money is actually paid to the closing attorney that's going to close the transaction or the listing agent's firm. And that money is set in an escrow account or a trust account, and nobody gets to touch that money until closing, or unless you, the buyer, backs out of the deal. So there's two questions that get asked a lot when it comes to earnest money. And the first question is, will that money be applied to my down payment and closing costs at settlement if I complete the transaction? And the answer to that question is yes. And the next question that we get asked is, will I lose my earnest money if I back out of the deal? And the answer is, well, it depends on if and when you back out of the deal. So there's two ways that earnest money can go, and it all depends on when somebody terminates a contract, which doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. So if you back out of the contract during the due diligence period, you do not lose your earnest money. But if you back out after the due diligence period has ended, yes, you will forfeit that to the seller. So let me walk you through a visual that's going to explain this and give you some clarity in a little bit more detail. So let's talk about the due diligence process as a whole, and then we'll talk about how the earnest money plays into this example. So let's assume that it's January 1st and you go under contract. So your due diligence period is going to be roughly 3 weeks. For the sake of this example, let's say your due diligence period end date is at 5 o'clock on January 21st. So there's a whole bunch of things that we have to do between January 1st and January 21st. And that is what is up here in these brackets. So this is where the due diligence fee is paid to the seller, and then the earnest money check is paid to the closing attorney or the listing agent's firm. And that money is held in a trust account and nobody can get to it. And then this is where your lender will order the appraisal, and we will do your home inspection and termite inspection and whatever else inspections may be necessary for that property. Then after the inspection comes back, we'd go through it and we would send a repair request to the seller to ask them to fix whatever we asked them to fix. Once repairs are negotiated, we would all sign off on it and move on with the transaction. The attorney also orders your title work to get ready for closing. And within the period of January 1st through our due diligence period end date of January 21st, you as the buyer could back out for any reason whatsoever, and you would have to give up your due diligence fee if you did that. However, your earnest money would be refunded to you. So as long as you back out during that window of time, you will not lose your earnest money. So after the due diligence period ends from January 21st through an assumed closing date of February 10th, this is where we get into the last stages of the transaction. So at this point, the repairs would have already been negotiated. They may not have been completed. And if they weren't completed, that is why we would go back and do a walkthrough to make sure that they were done before you signed any paperwork. And then your mortgage company is going to finalize everything for the loan. The attorney is going to complete the title work to be ready for you on closing date. And then the attorney and the lender will finalize all of the numbers. So if you as a buyer back out after 5 o'clock on January 21st, at any point between then and your closing date, you will forfeit your earnest money to the seller. So that's where that plays out. You have to back out prior to the due diligence end date to keep yourself safe from losing the earnest money. But if you proceed with the transaction, you will get a credit at closing towards your down payment and closing costs for the due diligence fee that you already paid and the earnest money that you already paid. So you don't lose it. It comes back to you at closing as long as you continue on with the transaction. So I hope this slide was helpful, and I'm going to put a link in the video description below for you to click on that, and you can download this and keep this for your reference. So thank you for tuning in. And to learn more about the due diligence fee, where I go into a lot more detail, you may want to check out that video as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell to be notified when I release new videos every week. And make it a great day.